Hi folks, this is Martin from The Real Hollywood Video, and I'm here to give you some movie reviews. First movie I'd like to talk about is Sinners. Now this is a great movie with great actors, wonderful cinematography, filled with music and vampires. I was told in advance that this was a vampire movie, and I was a little confused in the first half, wondering how the story would come into play. Once it does, the story really kicks into gear. It starts off with the rise of criminal brothers, OG gangsters, and it's also about musicians carrying the darkness on their backs. But as we all know, if you dance with the devil long enough, sometimes it follows you home. The movie stars Michael B. Jordan in a role that he was meant to play. I love the lighting and the practical effects. Also, did I mention that it was filled with music? I highly recommend. Final Destination Part 6. Another great film that I highly recommend. You know, growing up, I loved to watch these movies and they just kept making more of them. And it freaked me out for years, you know, whether it was driving behind a log truck or thinking of weird, quirky ways that can cause a massive accident or even death. The premise is you can't outrun death. I like this movie because it linked all of the other movies together and made it one big picture. Ultimately, the biggest takeaway from the story was if you see a penny on the ground, leave it there. Until Dawn. I love horror movies. And I love time repeat movies, and this is the best of both worlds combined. Now, it's a time loop movie like Groundhog's Day or Happy Death Day and many more, but with a twist. The day isn't always the same, and you're affected the next time around by how you may have died, and you don't know how many more times you'll get to repeat before you aren't going back to join the group. It kept my interest throughout. What a fun movie. Novocain. Mr. Jack Quaid stars in this movie. He is the son of Dennis Quaid and Meg Ryan, and you can totally see both of their faces in his throughout this movie. It's a comedy action movie. It starts off with a bank heist and a teller, our lead, who has no feelings. He has no pain threshold. Apparently, it's a real condition. It brings up some interesting ideas like not being able to eat your food, you know, with fear of eating your tongue. So a liquid diet is his go-to. The movie has a lot of gore and gross scenes, but it's very funny. All the actors did a great job. It has a John Wick-like action sequences throughout, wrapped up with comical writing. This movie works. Definitely put this on your to-watch list, if you're not too easily grossed out. Enjoy. The Monkey. It's a decent horror movie with some great creepy scenes that kept my interest most of the time. Great bloody scenes. A body exploding from electricity was a little over the top, but still really cool to see. Unfortunately, this horror comedy didn't work as well as a comedy. It felt a little forced, not all the jokes landed. But, you know, if you can get past that, it was a decent movie, worth a watch. Mickey 17. This one goes out to all you Team Edward fans out there. This is a sci-fi comedy bizarro. The trailer led me to believe that it was gonna be a different kind of movie, although it was still very fun, just not what I had expected. He's an expendable. He's a worker who was recloned after each death. Kind of an interesting concept. Now, there are rules in place in this world that they don't allow clone multiples to live at the same time. And therein lies your interesting sci-fi comedy story of sorts. Robert Pattinson does great. Alto Knights with Robert De Niro. De Niro pulls another one out of his hat, impresses us once again, and shows us why he is a Hollywood star. He plays himself and his best friend. The cinematography was done so very well to make it look seamless with their interactions. The two characters play so vastly differently that you forget that you're watching the same actor. It's an American gangster movie, criminals butting heads with the highest stakes on the table, their lives. lives. It's a must-see movie if you like mafia, gangster, crime boss films. Anora. This movie won Best Picture. And once again, as far as Best Picture nominations go, I disagree with it being the best of the year. It was an interesting movie, although the first half was just a bunch of partying and sex. The rest of the story was intriguing enough for me to want to finish it. The actors did a great job. The cinematography was beautiful. So it was worth the watch? Yes. Worth Best Picture? Definitely not. The Comeback Trail. I love this movie. Then again, I'm a sucker for movies about making movies. This one has a similar story to The Producers, and where you can get insurance money to cover the movie you didn't make if your lead actor dies in the filming process. They keep conjuring up elaborate stunts in hopes that their lead won't survive. So here we have De Niro playing the director, who does a great job, by the way. Tommy Lee Jones playing an old, washed-up actor. Not Tommy Lee. And let's not forget about Mr. Morgan Freeman, who plays the villain, a bad guy, the gangsta. And boy, does he blow me away. He did such a great job playing this role. This movie is very funny and creative and definitely worth a watch. Dirty Angels. This movie flew under the radar for most people, but I put it on my list for must-see movies of the year. The story was similar to The Covenant with Jake Gyllenhaal, where he goes back into battle to save someone. The movie had explosion after explosion, and just when I was so impressed with all the action, another explosion. The movie was captivating, it kept me on the edge of the couch, and who doesn't like to see a group of women kicking butt? Dirty Angels.